All right, welcome everybody to the Wednesday afternoon Elite Series team call. Super excited. We're not going to do any announcements because you guys can find that info in the Coach Breaking News in your Coach Online office. Also in the Team Beachbody 411 coach page and on the announcements of the national wake up calls. And if you missed the last 2 weeks, make sure to go back and watch them. They were both absolutely incredible. I really enjoyed I enjoyed this one this week, but I really enjoyed last week's with Holly. She talked real simple about how she makes connections, how she does invites, and I'm a pen and paper person as well, so I could really relate to her style and the way that she did it. And she did a really great job at teaching. So if you kind of feel stuck and not sure of what am I supposed to be doing right now? Just take what you learned in that national wake up call, do your workout, drink your shake, read your personal development book, and do those simple things that she talked about on connecting, finding people, connecting, inviting, and following up. And that's the foundation of building an awesome business. So we've been sharing everybody on the team that's been winning in the Take Action Challenge, but I didn't see any announcements yesterday for the Take Action Challenge. So I'll keep my eye open for that and try to figure out when they're going to do that drawing so that we can share more winners from the team. It's been awesome seeing people win trips to Mexico. One of you guys won a team call with Carl Deichler. I'm still gunning for winning one of those bikes. So I'm working super hard on that Take Action Challenge. But I want to invite you guys to do that. We have a month left of the Take Action Challenge. Just a reminder, you get your name in the drawing every time that you do your digital business activity tracker, which, by the way, they've been updating even since we started doing this 2 months ago. It's absolutely awesome. I can see my coaches and you guys can see your coaches, how much, what percentage of their activity tracker they've completed. So I absolutely love that. So you get your name in the drawing one time every time that you complete that tracker. And then also you get your name every time someone enters a bod group that you have, you get your name in the drawing. And every time that you send out 5 invites via email to your bod group, you get your name in the drawing as well. So make sure you're participating in that. And I want to see you guys win some prizes. So let's get on to our guest speaker. Her name is Jenna. She's been married to her college sweetheart. They have 2 boys, ages 8 and 6. My 2 boys are 8 and 5. So I know what having 2 boys that age is like. She's a middle school band director, and she just finished her 14th year of being a middle school band director. And her husband is a high school band director. She's a 5-star diamond in her first business center, 1-star diamond in her second business center. She's been a Success Club Success Club legend for 54 months. She led a 2020 Premier Team, 2021 Elite Team, and finished 2020 in the top 100. She's also a 645 test group member for the new program that's about to get launched. So with that being said, Jenna, I'm going to pass the time over to you.
Yay. Awesome. Well, I am excited to be here. And it's also semi-surreal because when I very first became a coach, my upline was my neighbor across the street, which I'll tell you about in a second. And I was very much a YouTube coach. And I watched so many of Scotty's videos. So now I'm like, oh my God. So y'all are on a pretty amazing team. I think I am not a co-host. Teacher life here. My slides are going to keep me on.
I'll just make you a host. It had co-host, but see if that works. I love the teachers. They guys got the slides and everything organized. That's so not me.
It's showing that Cindy is the host.
Oh, Cindy, I did hit Cindy on accident. Well, that would be why. Cindy, if you are a host, so if you want to share anything.
Cindy.
Let's see. Cindy's going to have to make you host because I just made Cindy. Cindy, do you know how to do that?
I don't think I can.
Yeah, that was my bad. Sorry about that, Jenna.
No, you're going to have to walk me through that because I really don't have a clue.
If you go to the participants, you can make me the host again. Here, it might be easier. Sorry about this.
Okay.
Jenna. You see it?
Okay, I think I just did it. I think I got you the host.
There you go. Your name was right above Jenna's. I accidentally did that. So
no worries.
There you go, Jenna. You should be co-host now.
All right. Yes. Now we get it. Okay.
Thank you.
So these are going to keep me on track here. And throughout, everything, definitely, if you have questions, drop them in the chat. I'm happy to check on that. And I kind of wanted to talk to you, I guess, in two parts today. One about my story, but mostly my story in regards to, I want you to be able to see yourself in parts of my story. Obviously we all have different ones, and that's great. And there are different elements of mine. Like, there is nothing about how I started that would say rock star coach, or anything that would suggest that I would be successful at this. So I just want you to kind of see what this has been like. And then I'm going to give you some actionable steps at the end as well. And, maybe if, this could be me talking about somebody on your team too. So I can hit the buttons correctly here. Okay, so kind of back where I started, I was a student athlete, but I even used that term kind of loosely because I was very much involved in sports in school, and I loved it, and I was very involved. But like, when I say student athlete, I was not like the star of the team, or anything like that. And you wouldn't be like, oh yeah, there goes, maybe the student athlete of the year. No, I was not that. I was just like like team player for sure. But I was very involved in track. I was a sprinter and a triple jumper, and triple jump like destroyed my knee. And I had a pretty big surgery my senior year of high school. And after I had that surgery, I went straight into college. And because I'm a band director, I was a music major in school. And the course load for that is pretty psycho. And let's be honest, everybody's course load is typically pretty wild in college, because, busy in general, I think is a term that we kind of give things, ourselves. We all think we're busy, whether it was now, whether it was in college. I mean, I even remember my husband had already graduated and was teaching, and I was still in school, and I was like, I'm so busy. And he was like, oh, it's so cute that you think that that's busy compared to what you're about to go into, so it's all like relative. But either way, I went from, physical therapy and like being functional again into college. I had a really full load because I went to a private school for college, and my degree program was 4.5 years, and I did not want to have to pay for the extra half year. And also, like, when you're going to be a teacher, graduating in December is not ideal. So I really loaded up so that I could graduate, quote unquote, on time. But it was early for my degree program. Then immediately I met my husband while we were in college. He's 3 years older than me, but was 2 years ahead in school. And I'm originally from New York, and went to school in New York. My husband's originally from Texas, and he got a job in Austin. And so as soon as, we were long distance from New York to Texas for 2 years. And then I graduated, I got my first job in Austin. And so we were new teachers, got engaged, that March of that first school year. And our profession is pretty unhealthy. I mean, I think it's no mystery that teachers are not, the most healthy, just because it's a very busy schedule. We're eating at our desks. We're like cramming food in between kids. We're very stressed, like that's been true of any school year, not even just this last one. But then on top of that, when you throw in something like band directing in a place like Texas, because Friday Night Lights is very much a real thing. That is what it is like here. And we live in Austin, so we're in a city here. But it is like, football is like the thing. So you throw in something that's really competitive and really big. I mean, for example, my middle school band program has about 400 students in it, just in the band program. So like it's really, really big. And it's very competitive, and other people very freely will talk smack, not necessarily about you, but the abilities of your students that you taught, like it's very cutthroat. It's very negative, if we're honest. And it's intense. It's a beating, if we're honest. Add into that, we had our 2 kids fairly close together. And when I knew that I needed to, be healthy and working out and everything, I realized that I had only ever been guided through it with a coach, or, in marching band or in track or in field hockey. I'd always been with a coach. And so when it came to having to do it by myself, I didn't really know what to do. And then, you throw my work hours into that, which on a normal school day is like 7 to 5, but, we have other events on top of that. And then the kids came into the mix, and like, forget it. But, I was more content, like rolling my eyes about what I couldn't do instead of trying to find something that would work. So then, fast forward to, where we're at now. So now, we're we're established adults, maybe fortunately or unfortunately. We'll be married 12 years in July. Our kids are 8 and 6. The 8-year-old's birthday is next week, so he'll be 9. I just finished my 14th year of teaching. And like we already said, we already went through these different things, coaching wise. Hold on. Do I have people in a waiting room I need to let in?
No, I've been letting them in.
Okay, good. I saw something pop up and was like, oh, okay, cool. So like we've talked about all these things, and like when I very first got started, which actually I think this is on the next slide. So let me jump ahead. Yeah. So when I very first started, my neighbor across the street was doing Beachbody workouts in her garage, and this was back in the DVD days. This was in like 2015 probably. And I saw her do it, and our kids would play together, and it was a very casual conversation. She was a diamond coach, which basically I felt was royalty. At that time, I didn't know what it meant. I wasn't in that ecosystem. And I didn't do it, to be rude or anything, but I was broke. So I bought my first 2 workout programs on eBay. And it was Hammer and Chisel was the very first one. And then after I really liked that, I got P90X3 off of eBay. And I really enjoyed the workouts. And my husband, like very sweetly was like, the workouts are great, but when you pair that with what they talk about with nutrition, I really think that your results really escalate. And I was like, whatever, we eat brown rice, we eat vegetables, like that's healthy, like, yeah, with like a cup of oil. But anyway, like I thought we ate healthy because we chose randomly healthy things. And so I used that as like a dare, because I'm kind of competitive, to be like, all right, well, this means that I'm allowed to buy Shakeology. And I am going to get a challenge pack, and I am going to follow it to a T and show him, again, none of this was mean. This was all like, in the spirit of Enneagram 3, I suppose. But I'm going to show him that if I follow it to a T, it's not going to make a dramatic difference from what I was already doing. Only it did. So on top of having like a 9-pound weight loss in 3 weeks, I was drinking Shakeology. It was during the beginning of the school year. So I had more energy. I just felt better. I felt, y'all know, you know the feeling. You just feel so much better, and like a weight is lifted off of you physically, but mentally too. And having Shakeology was something that I could literally be teaching and having at the same time. And I was, I wasn't skipping a meal. I wasn't like chowing down in between passing periods. Like I was able to enjoy it and feel full and know that I'm doing something good for myself other than eating something questionable because it's fast. So when I signed up as a coach, which, obviously this is where we're all leading to here, again, 2 teacher salaries. So Shakeology was a push, for us at that time. Our kids were really little. It was to get the discount on Shakeology. And actually she had just come back from Summit when I signed up. So this was now in 2016 when they went to Nashville, I think the second time. And I watched her do that. And I was like, man, I really like my bootleg DVDs. They're super fun. It would be really cool to go to a convention on this bootleg DVD habit that I have. But yeah, so I was like, well, Summit looks really fun. And she told me that if I helped 3 people a month, that I could earn my ticket to go with her the next year. Because that was what Success Starters at the time is you had to do it in the first month. And I would cover the cost of my own Shakeology. So in my brain, I was going to get to go with her to this convention, which I didn't know a lot about. And I was going to be able to basically make it free for me to do what I liked. I didn't have big goals. I did not come out saying like, I'm going to be a diamond coach. I'm going to replace my income. I'm going to honestly do any more than cover my own costs, because I had to cover my own costs to be able to sustain it. And I wanted to keep drinking Shakeology. So that's what I did. I was happy with my job and identity, even with its stresses, even with its craziness. Like if you just think, if any of you have any interaction with band at all, like whether you were in it as a kid or not. I mean, I started playing my instrument when I was in 4th grade, and I'm now almost 36 years old. So it has been a part of my identity for a very long time. And honestly, even longer than that, because my dad's a musician and my dad was a touring professional musician and a band teacher in New York as well. So like, this has been my life. So it's very much a part of my identity. It was not something I was looking to replace. And because of all of that, I did not come in like guns a-blazing, but I came in wanting to be consistent. I wanted to get that success starters at the time. I wanted to help other people, but I wanted to do it, for honestly kind of selfish reasons. I wanted to be able to go to Summit. I wanted to be able to keep drinking Shakeology. And I had coach training, but I was not in a place to really hear it for what it needed to be at the time. So it took me about 6 months to go Emerald, even though I was consistently hitting Success Club. I did miss it the first month, which at the time made me not a success starter. So there I was. So like actually a couple of things in my story right here that I want to stick out to you. If it had been current Beachbody times, I would have been somebody that came in on a trial and quarterly bod. I don't know if I would have been responsive if it was to somebody I didn't know, like if I were a coach lead or customer lead or something like that. I came in with quarterly bod essentially. And then when I came in as a coach, I would not have been somebody that I pegged for rank advancing. I would not have been somebody that I was looking for massive growth. But here I was, like I did build to Emerald, and that took me about 6 months because I was looking for like people that wanted to coach. Coincidentally, those coaches 5 years later are actually still on my team, which is kind of wild. But then once I got to Emerald, I got to that summit that next summer. This was the first time, or only time, that it was in New Orleans. And I looked around, and first of all, I went very proud because I was just about to be a Success Club All-Star. I had just about hit for 12 months in a row. And I went to Summit like, I'm a teacher, I'm still a teacher, I'm an Emerald coach, I hit Success Club, go me. And all of those things are huge to celebrate. So if you are at that place, like major props to you because they are like the foundation of your business. But I put this like glass ceiling on myself that because I worked, that was what I was capable of. Not because anybody told it to me, not because I was even putting myself down. It was a very like happy, casual ceiling I put on myself. Like, what? I work full time. I'm doing this for fun. I'm doing this for, I don't know. I just didn't think there was more for me because I didn't have an example of it. And so after that summit, I quickly realized like, oh my God, not only are there people that are diamonds that are quote unquote normal people, but there are people that are star diamonds and premier and elite coaches and like these magical unicorns that are normal people also. It's not like Instagram ads. Heck, I didn't even have an Instagram at the time. Like it was just, people were more normal than I was expecting. And quickly that shifted to oh my God, like, if they can do this, I can do this. There's no reason that I can't continue doing what I'm doing, but have a little bit more intention behind it and really make something of this. Like, what could I do, instead of like beating myself up for what I hadn't done. So just the pictures on these slides are some of the early pictures. I mean, this one right here, this was when my coach like introduced me to our big team. My big team is with Trina Gray on Team Rockstar Fit. So this is where she introduced me into that page, early pictures where I'm not making eye contact with wherever the selfie lens is. It was fine. My husband, I think, took this one after 21 Day Fix that first time. And then this is a leaderboard, probably a little over a year, when my team like kind of got first established as a team after that summit. And I was like, oh, okay. Right after that summit, I went diamond because I suddenly understood what to do. Guys, I even have notes from that very first summit where I have written down, what is PV? Like, I didn't know what volume was. This is like a year in, and I didn't know what volume was. I didn't understand cycle bonuses. I didn't understand the value of building a team. And that summit, even though this information was not hidden from me. I just was not in a place to hear it. And I think that's why these team calls and everything are so important and live events are so important, because it may be something that's been said to you a million times, but for whatever reason, that exact moment when you hear it from the person you hear it from is a light bulb moment. I mean, granted, that's when your coach like rolls their eyes and it's like, I know, I've been telling you this for a year. Because now I'm on that side of it. but still. So I got to diamond. And then I got to 1-star pretty quick because one of my coaches that early on did build to diamond pretty close to when I did. She's still done. Actually, she's going 2-star tomorrow. But then I sat at 1-star for 18 months. And I kind of did the same thing I did at the beginning, this time with a little more anger behind it, where I got to 1-star and sat there for a really long time and quickly started putting the blame on my team, and not meanly, but I figured I had capped at 1-star because I didn't have a team that was doing anything. They were very much coming in for the community, but weren't really doing coach activities, and I was just sitting back and waiting for them to like go. And at that 2 summits later, I guess this was the last live summit. I was at a diamond event for our big team, and one of my coach friends mentioned something about my husband's team, and it was like, well, like, isn't he opposite of Laura? And I was like, yes. She's like, well, why are we not like working together to help build his team to diamond? And I said that, I was very competitive, and again, Enneagram 3, and I was like, well, because he doesn't count for elite points because he is old, too old of a coach, and he doesn't. And I don't want him to get Success Club points if he, I just wanted the team to be all my own situation. I didn't want to share, even though we build this team very much together. He is like my biggest supporter. He is always there behind the scenes doing all of the things. And, I was frustrated at this point because the year that I ended 1 star, I had enough points to go beyond elite on my elite report, but I was 1 star. And again, I blamed other people other than myself. So her advice to me at that point was, well, you can continue to be frustrated with where you're at, or you can control what you have the ability to control and just go. And people will either follow you or you will attract new people, but you can't like hold yourself back waiting on these other people. You need to just go. And so I left that summit and was like, oh my God, you're right. And so Chris and I talked about it. Chris is my husband when I got back. And so after that point, like that very month, I hit Success Club 70, and Chris hit, I don't even remember, I think it's on here somewhere. I don't know where it is. But like we built Chris to diamond in a month. After having him be virtually sitting there as a super fan for forever. But then it started duplicating in the organization because me helping Chris go diamond then opened up my second business center. My second business center went diamond in like 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks. Like it was really fast. And that started inspiring other coaches that had been on the team to get more present because they were like, oh, dang, what's going on? And so I went to the summit in 2019 with almost no points on my elite report because everybody was an old coach at that point, to going premier by the end of the year. I think we ended 3-star premier, having literally gotten all of the points from July on. And then the very next year, that momentum really did continue to grow. It inspired more leaders. We ended up going 5-star and then 1-star in my second business center, going elite by August of last year, and just really seeing depth in the organization. And it wasn't just me, and it was inspiring action and duplication, which meant not only my own cycle bonuses growing, but my team's growing, seeing rank advancements of people I didn't even know who they were in my downline. I'm on a dead leg, so anything that happens, I know because I can see it very clearly. I don't have anything building from above me. But really creating leaders and self-sufficient coaches. And I'll tell you about how some of that has come to play, since that point. But it really was 2 different turning points. The one where I assumed that I had a cap on myself because I had a job. And then the second time thinking that momentum was created only by other people instead of myself. And those were 2 really, really big light bulb moments for me that have really propelled us into what we have now, and continue to foster. We, like any business, we have our ups and our downs. Like I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm hitting Success Club 70 every month and I'm not like, team rock star over here. Like we definitely have had months. I mean, like I live in Texas. We got like beaten and abused for the entire month of February. Like I had no water for like 2 weeks, but I was able to still hit Success Club and still move my business forward because of work that I had been doing through all of these months prior. So even when things are hard, things are still moving forward, just maybe not as fast as I would particularly like them to go. Okay, so now with some kind of actionable things here and how we made this happen. And just, these are really, I'm going to say probably, again, nothing that is new information to you, but I just really want you to think about it because it's really simple. It doesn't mean it's easy to do, but it's simple. This business is built in inches. We come up with these goals of going elite, going 5-star, heck, going emerald or going diamond when you're a new coach. Like it doesn't matter what the goal is because we all have them. We all make them, and your goals are your own. But we do have to also go one at a time. So if I have a goal of going elite, but I'm an emerald coach, there's an awful lot of steps in between there that I need to get to before, that elite goal is achieved, right? Like I've got to get to diamond. I have to strengthen my diamond. I need to teach others how to go diamond. And I kind of have to, just taking it one thing at a time, because if I'm like, my goal is to go elite, and then everything that is not elite is like a beatdown or a failure, like I am going to get really, really frustrated in this business, right? It's all about setting those benchmarks along the way to the big goal and knowing what you have to do to get there. Because, you know, a goal is great, but if it's just a title, if it's just a recognition without the action behind it, it's never going to be satisfying and it's never going to happen, right? So like with my team, I'm very frequently talking about like, okay, you know, your step one is going to Emerald, you know, and talking about the value in doing that, like making sure that you're unlocking the second part of the compensation plan, putting a stake in the ground and saying that you're taking this seriously. I'm just really, you know, using a lot of, hey, I did this wrong. I suggest maybe doing this instead because I wished I had, and really doing it one step at a time. You get their own Emerald. They solidify their Emerald. They're hitting Success Club. Okay, now we talk about, you know, where your coaches are that might go Emerald, and just taking it that one step at a time and building strength and building consistency. And all of that comes from Success Club and adding coaches. I mean, that is the foundation of the business side of this, is hitting Success Club and adding coaches, you know, and making sure that you have new people coming in every single month. You are adding coaches, you know, whether they are your future preferred customers, whether they're super fans, whatever that is, and then teaching them how to do what you've done. Like, it's all that one step at a time. Something that's really big on our team is creating super fans, which I know Beachbody is really good at. And oh my God, with all the announcements that we have coming for the end of the year, like creating super fans is going to be even easier because it's just amazing. But I mean, like an example of this is, so this little post right here is from last summer, obviously before MBF. And the fact that I can go into a community page, because I have a community page that has customers and coaches and one that has just coaches. But this is one where I just posted like, hey, if we could get Megan Davies on a Zoom, who would be on? And I've got like 50 people engaging in that post, like total nerds, right? And like my team is not very big. So like keep in mind too, like it is very possible to go elite and stuff without like a gigantic team. Like you just need the right things in place. So, you know, something like that, and creating them to just like really enjoy this. And I thought from the beginning that I was going to be somebody that was helping other parents because I was a parent. And I think it's very easy for us to, you know, kind of gravitate toward that being our only identity, until I really looked around and realized that the people I was helping were people that had really stressful jobs and had the same job as me. Not even like elementary teachers. Like I help other secondary, mostly honestly band directors. Like I have the nerdiest team ever. It's great. But you know, and this is our healthy escape from a really stressful life. So my ability to get them to just fall in love with it and nerd out about it has created a really great community. And those super fans, I have found at least with my team, those super fans are the ones that turn into your business building coaches. So like when I was stuck at 1 star for so long and so frustrated that I had a team that was not working, you know, I very quickly realized that like, wait, like, no, it's not like I'm just going to post on Instagram and say like, hey, I'm looking for business builders, bring it on. Like, that's not how this works, right? Business builders, most of the time, at least for me, are developed, and they are developed from people that fall in love with what we do, which is perfect because that's vital behavior number one, right? Is being a proof of the product. So, you know, whether someone comes in as a discount coach or they come in as a customer first, getting them to fall in love with their journey is what is going to create your best business builders, because they have true belief in what they're doing. And that's what I always tell my coaches when they're stressing out about, you know, they really want to build, they really want to grow. It's like, you need to dig in with everybody you have, at no matter how they came in, and you need to be really helping develop them into a super fan for what we do, because then they're the easiest spokesperson in the world. I mean, it goes to like, if you go to a restaurant and you have an amazing experience, you have great service, you eat like the best dessert you've ever had, you're going to tell everybody about it because you think that they need to go have the same experience. If you find an amazing sale, you're going to tell everybody about it because there's no reason that they shouldn't get the same experience that you got. And that's what we do here. And this is what we duplicate in our teams, is getting them to absolutely love what they're doing. And that makes it easy for them to share. Oh, and then also, this is my friend Anna Marie. She was actually Beachbody's post yesterday on their regular Instagram and on their regular Facebook. She was a semifinalist in the Beachbody Challenge. So she's not up for voting at this point, but she's just amazing. She lost over 100 pounds. She's actually pregnant with her third now. But yeah, so like, hello, super fans. Like, she's amazing. Hitting the wrong button. Okay, next thing, which is going to make you want to punch me in the face, and that's fine. Consistency is key. And I know you hear this on like every call you're ever on. They're like, consistent, but it's true. Like you do have to show up consistently. And I mean that on your social media and in your groups. Now, what consistency means is a little bit different from person to person based on your, how new of a coach you are, how involved, how big your groups are, what your social media looks like, what you're, if you're going from having never posted on social media, consistent for you may be that you're posting every 2 to 3 days. Now, do we want to eventually up that? Yes, but we want to celebrate those movements forward from going from nothing to something also, right? So it's still consistent if it's every other day. But if you post once and then you disappear for 2 weeks and you post it and then you disappear for 3 weeks, but that's not showing consistency. And even if you have a friend that thinks of Beachbody and thinks of you, they're going to like go to your page and be like, are they still doing that? Like they're not going to be clear on you being the one to reach out to. So getting that consistency going and then gradually building that. And then the consistency in your groups being like, you're going to freaking show up for your people because that's where your business builders are, even if they're a customer. I mean, I have the diamond that I have in my second business center, kind of funny, or kind of like the universe going, huh. She's probably one of the fastest growers on my team. And she signed up like right before the pandemic as a coach, but she was somebody that signed up originally with quarterly bod. And I believe she signed up in the 10 rounds launch. As a coach, she had never used product before. So I put her, I was really pushing for 5-star at that point for the first time. I put her in my second business center because I assumed she was going to quit. And now here we were. She was my first diamond last year. So that was kind of a, remember when you bought stuff on eBay? Yeah. So that's where she came from. Now with this consistency in your groups and in your social media, that's where you're proving people right or you're proving them wrong based on whatever preconceived notion they have of you. Because let's be real, whether you're a coach, whether you are a teacher, whether you are a parent, like whoever you are, people are making thoughts about you, right? Like they are. So you get to kind of navigate that directive by showing them that you're going to get results, by showing them that you're going to be successful with this, because they're going to be watching regardless, right? Like, so you might as well, show them that you've got what it takes to do this. It's something, especially right now, if you're struggling with consistency, I can't stress enough the importance of helping yourself and your coaches getting consistent right now, because when Beachbody goes public and when Body launches and the bikes come out, and like I do have a Peloton, but like I had to wait, and this is going probably almost a year ago, I had to wait like, I don't know, 6 or 8 weeks to get my Peloton. So if we're able to turn these mixed bikes around way faster, or heck, they're a more affordable option and they look badass. Like those bikes are going to be drawing attention, going public and having stock is going to draw attention. Body is going to draw attention. Like Beachbody is really listening to what coaches and customers think we need. And all it's going to do is going to make us more present, more competitive. And you want your people and your friends that are on your social media to think of you. So like if they were thinking about getting a Peloton and then they see that they can get a mixed bike that's more awesome and is cheaper, you want them to go, isn't my friend whoever a coach? Like I should probably talk to them about this. And then you get to hook them up and you get the volume from a bike sale. Like you better make sure you're making your presence known right now, right? Whatever that means to you, like make sure they know that you are in this for the long haul and you're the one that they should go to. Then you're going to make sure that you're, if you're a business building coach, you're going to be inviting. And you always want to know, this is something that I just did a whole power hour on this with our big team. I guess, when was that? Doesn't matter when it was. But always, I've been really intentional with my team on breaking down what they should be doing and when. So I always have a list for them of what they should be inviting to, so, and it works for, wherever they are in their business, but like talking to friends and family, going through your contacts on your phone and making a list of people that you can invite, going through your Facebook and Instagram friend lists, looking at who's liking and commenting on your posts, like the places that you can find people, but then specifically, what are you inviting to? Is it an ongoing group? Is it a challenge group that has a certain start date? Is it a coach webinar? Is it, what are you inviting to and when, so that when you are sending an invite that you are inviting to something specific. Then the second step to that is, okay, once you have sent the invite, when they say yes, what do you do? because I do think that new coaches in particular, and heck, even veteran coaches, can sometimes get hung up in the inviting process because they don't know what to do when someone says yes. Sure, they might be a little bit nervous of the no also, but like the no is not, you're not going to die when someone says no. And so many people that have said no to me have come back later and have been a yes. So helping go through that process. And I even have my team like have it basically ready to go. Okay, this is what you're inviting to this week. When they say they want more information, this is what you do. When they sign up, this is where you put customers, this is where you put coaches. And just having it as a clear outline of this is what you do, because that helps not only you streamline your process, but that makes you really time efficient too. And like my team mostly work full-time. I work full-time. I don't have time to like be recreating the wheel all the time. I need processes. And when I sit down to have my work time, I've got to be able to like pound it out and go. And whether you work or not, I don't think any of us signed up to do this so that we could sit on our computer for 12 hours a day. Most of us don't want that. If you want that, dude, go for it. Go hit Success Club 100 in that time, right? But nobody wants to sit here for 12 hours. You want to sit down and get productive work done and then have that time flexibility and the freedom that you signed up for, right? That consistency doesn't take talent. It just takes routine and knowing what to do. Like seriously, taking 5 minutes at the beginning of the week to structure out exactly what you need to do will make you just go so much faster in all of your behaviors through the week. Okay, and then when it comes to creating routine, another eye roll, and that's fine. I am all for I teach middle school. Y'all can like eye roll at me all you want. I'm good with it. But this is what I teach people when they are meal planning in my groups, and then also my coaches with their coaching behaviors. So the way to create a routine, and I would say go a week at a time. You don't need to be thinking about what you're going to do in August with your coaching activities unless you really want to. Like, let's talk about 1 week, right? In that week, what parts of your day are set in stone? So if you work, what time do you leave for work? What time do you get home from work? If you have kids, what time is soccer practice? If you have, church, what time do you leave and come back from church? Like, what are those set in stone times in your day? And what do you have each day that is going to dictate how your day is spent? Okay, then after that, you can look at what responsibilities you have that maybe don't have a specific time, but have to happen. It sucks, but you have to do laundry. Contrary to popular belief, eventually you're going to have to do laundry. Eventually you're going to have to like bathe your children, like those like little things that have to get done, making like planning out like, okay, I mean, you should probably bathe your kids every day, right? Or it's summer, so the pool counts, right? So every other day, but like lining up those responsibilities that take your time and like are priority, and family time is a priority, right? Then scheduling in when your self-care is, because you're going to suck at your coaching behaviors if you're not doing your own self-care, because you're not going to believe in what you're doing and you're not going to feel good. Okay, so your self-care is a priority too. Okay, then focus on, in the windows that are left, what parts of coaching are going to move you forward. For me, that's invites, because guys, if you are not inviting, or if your coaches are not inviting, like you don't really have a business, because the odds of you putting up a post and getting where you want to in your goals based on people reaching out to you are really slim. And if that happens to you, you are freaking lucky. It is going to come from invites. So you could do all the push groups, you could do all the message threads you want in the world. If the invites are not happening, the business is not going to be happening. Okay, so my priorities in my coach, especially during the school week, are my invites, being present on social media, and being present in my groups. Like, those are my main move my business forward activities. For me, on a school day, my schedule is slightly crazy, but that's okay. It does not look like this, for at least a couple weeks right now in summer. But my alarm does go off at 3:45. And at 4, I am, checking in with some of my coaches. My coaches are up really early too, because they have the same job as me. I do my invites at 4 in the morning, and I check back on any messages I maybe missed, from the day before. At 5, I do my workout. At 6, I shower and I listen to PD while I'm getting ready. I'm at school typically from 7 to 5. Obviously, I have days where that varies because of events. When I get home from school, really the only main focus is making sure I have some kind of like main post of the day up. And that's when my people are on social anyway, so it works out. I have to see what happens right now during summer and how engagement goes. And then that's when I am making lunches for the next day and making dinner. Then I'm like, because the age of my kids right now, like they like coming home from school and having their own free time too. That looked a little bit different when they were younger, and that it's just evolved with their age. So this is just what's working for me right now. It'll change again when the boys, need something different. And then after they go to bed is when I go in and I check in on my groups and I make connections on social, because that's when I would be farting around on my phone anyway. So I might as well make sure that it's a good use of time. The weekends are when I do some of the bigger things like timing posts and prepping for the week ahead so that I can move fast through my coach behaviors during the week. But to be honest, I don't spend more than, and again, you're looking at a 5-star elite coach's business where I'm spending 2 hours during the school week a day-ish on my business. And the rest of it is not, because I'm really efficient with my time. Like I'm a ninja with my time and making sure that I'm getting good stuff done. Using the tracker. And I know this is a little old now that we have the digital one, but I love the tracker, and the colors on here I had done on another training, but it's basically, it still applies with the digital one, of course, too. But we have 3 main things in our tracker: taking care of ourselves, which we already said is priority number 1, because the other things don't work when you're not doing that. Number 2 is taking care of the people. So it's the purple is taking care of the people that are in your groups. And the teal is connecting and bringing in new people. So that's what I'm always thinking about. How am I taking care of me? How am I taking care of my current people? And how am I taking care of my future people? And we already talked about the needle movers. Just very easy to overcomplicate this business when really, you can batch content, keeping groups simple, which works for me based on the people I serve. Like the people I serve are busy during the day, so they're not looking for multiple group posts in the challenge group. I mean, I have great engagement right now doing a 30 hardest challenge, and I did no content. It's literally check-ins and that's it. And it's got great engagement. Not feeling like we have to recreate the wheel all the time, because that takes time. And just doing what feels good for you. I think that's mostly it on this. But I do want you to kind of think about, when you listen to other coaches, whether it's on a team call, whether it is on the national wake up call, whether it's at Summit, I think it can be easy sometimes to look at what other people have done and be like, dang, there's no way I can do that. But instead, I really challenge you to find coaches that have similar stories maybe to you, or even if they don't, just using anybody else that you've seen had success as proof that you can do it too, and not that there is a ceiling. When I did go to that first summit and thought that Emerald was the best that a teacher could do, I actually very quickly, kind of in the back of my mind, thought, I want to be the story of something different. I don't hear a lot of people coming and talking about how they still love their job and how they are still engaged with their job and have a really big business. But what if I could be an example of how you can do both and do both well? And I set out to do it from that point, and we're on our way. But I know there's some stuff in the chat, but if you have questions, definitely feel free to drop them in there.
This has been so good so far. This is like a new coach training. Like, hey, just watch this team call that Jenna did, because this will teach you exactly what you need to do. Does anybody have any questions for Jenna? I have one while people are thinking. Did you say a 30-day hard-ish?
Yes.
Oh, that sounds like something I would do.
Yeah. So we're doing a gallon of water, sticking to UPF or 2B mindset, 2 workouts, but 1 needs to be outside. But it's only 30 days. Honestly, because I'm going out of town in July. That's literally why it's only 30 days.
I heard that, and I was like, my wife was talking yesterday about 2 days ago about committing to 75 hard, and we're getting ready to go to Arizona for 3 weeks, and we'll be eating out at new restaurants. And I was like, not to downplay her desire to do 75 hard, but I was like, do you really want to do that right now?
I know.
So I might have to suggest 30-day hard-ish.
Yes.
Okay, there's a question in the chat from Laura. Do you have an inviting process at all, and how do you manage it?
Yes. So, I probably should be better at tracking than I do, but I very much am tally based. I invite almost exclusively from my stories. So when I am posting and doing reels and doing all of those things on the main feed, which they have to be there because we grow our following and we grow to new people through the feed, and then we develop relationships through stories. So once they've made it to my stories, which is ultimately my goal, I don't tell them this in my posts, but my goal in my post is to get them to want to learn more and go to my stories. Once they get there, I'm inviting them, because if you're going to watch my kids in their house playing, if you're going to watch my dog, like if you're going to watch all of these things that my family are doing repeatedly, if you come in accidentally, okay, fine. Like I should have locked the door. But like if you're going to repeatedly watch what my family is up to, I'm going to invite you to what I'm talking about. I always, when I'm ready to do an invite, I do go to the message history to see if we've talked before, see if they've been invited before. I always need to be, again, this is where tracking for real is bitter, because you never know if that would disappear. I do have an email list and all of those. I have multiple places that people are, but I just feel like the stories are a really great place to invite from. And then I'm connecting with people that are engaging on reels and posts.
Excellent. Bree asked the question, I find content is the hardest to find time to do, as it takes me forever to come up with something or a reel. How do you do that in amongst your full-time commitments? And then how do you batch again?
Okay, so that's a great question. So when it comes to reels, I will spend time, and I know we can all fall into a pit with this right now, but I'll start watching some, and my kids actually like doing it too at their age. So we'll, like, right before bed, honestly, we'll go through and we'll watch some reels. And anytime we find one that either has a sound that I want to use or an idea I want to use, I save it. And I have a big file of saved reels that I can recreate, or at least spark some kind of whatever. Sometimes I save really funny dog ones, because if the boys aren't with me, because they like those. But so saving things that I can use later. And sometimes you're going to make content that's not great, but getting it out there and practicing does make you better. So have I had some like not great reels? Yes. I've also had some go viral that I'm like, what? Okay. Like, I don't know why you think that's so funny, but I'm here for it. When it comes to the feed, that's something else that I kind of at least loosely think about at the beginning of every week. So I'll look at my week as a whole and think about what things my family has going on, because I do want to make sure that I'm mixing in Beachbody with real life. I want to make sure that I have things for people to connect with that is not just what I am doing with Beachbody. So like for this week, I know I have to go to school tomorrow because I have to teach a class for an hour and a half tomorrow. So I'm sure I'll talk about how I'm going up there in the summer. We have a wedding on Sunday, so I'm sure we'll be sharing something from the wedding. I forget off the top of my head, but we have, I'll go through and see like what are specific things I know I'm going to want to post about maybe in our life. And then one of my coaches is going to start tomorrow. So I know that I'm going to be talking about her and her growing her business and how we got connected, so just kind of finding those things and at least loosely organizing out like, okay, these are some things that I can share about during the week. And then I fill in the gaps with, the more generic Beachbody posts, like maybe a transformation or, something. Whenever you're feeling particularly cute, if you can change clothes and like take pictures in multiple places in your house, that's always ideal. Trying to do it during the pandemic was kind of interesting because it was like, here I am in my living room, here I am in my kitchen. So now at least you get like a little bit more out there. Yeah. But I think planning ahead as much as possible, even just with like topics, saves time.
I do that as well with reels. Gabby and I watch reels, ones that are funny or whatever, we save them. Another thing that I do is because I want to attract people, well, I say attract business builders, but going along with what you said as well, create Beachbody fanatics or super fans, but the super fans are the ones watching as well. So they need to understand and know what you're doing. So one thing that I do to find ideas is I take my personal development for that day and I think, okay, how does this personal development help me as a father or a husband or a dad or in a work situation? And then I would just teach that concept in a post. So that's one thing that I do. And then also I want you to not overthink it. Like here's a post from my second month. And obviously it has like hardly any likes and comments, but it's just like, not overthinking it, just sharing what you're doing. It says my financial goal. I opened up a second account for my Beachbody earnings. I'm not going to touch this money. And at the end of the year, minus my taxes, I'm going to put it I'll deposit as a lump sum into paying off our home. The goal, pay off our home in 7 years, right? It's not like some like really thought out thing. It's just like in my mind, this is what I'm going to do with this money I'm starting to earn with Beachbody and like just sharing it. Right. So don't overthink it, just share. And that's, what that was doing was planting a vision, showing people what's possible. before, like I'm only a month into my coaching journey when I wrote that, right? So yeah, don't overthink it. And then I got one more question for you, Jenna. When you run out from Lacey, when you run out of people in your stories, where do you invite from? I find that I run out of people from my stories by the 10th of the month.
So here's something else that's really cool about the tracker. Aside from it having, the different points, I think that the tracker is really important in not just being a to-do list, but showing us where we may have some gaps in our business or where we can grow. So, if you get to a point where you feel like you're running out of people to invite, okay, well, where have we been in connecting? Because if we are continuing to add followers and we're continuing to add connections, there should always be people to invite. Now, I definitely have been in that place and get in that place too, where I'm like, ooh, I feel like I'm not seeing new people. That tells me that like, I'm not going to stop inviting per se, but my time is going to shift more towards connection building so that I am increasing the amount of new people that I'm seeing in those places. And hopefully if you're using your tracker authentically and not just like saying you're doing stuff without actually doing it, you'll be able to realize like, oh, I didn't really do a good job of this last week, and now I'm not seeing new people in here, and be able to kind of course correct where there may be gaps. Because that actually is what one of the biggest things was when I went from 1-star to Premier so fast, is I wasn't using a tracker at all because I was hitting Success Club every month. And so I was 1-star and hitting Success Club. So I was like, I'm good. And I started doing the tracker to teach my coaches, and then went, oh crap. And all of a sudden, like my business blew up because I realized that I had major holes that I was not aware of. So I really think just kind of refocusing your time, maybe spending a little bit more time on posts versus stories, so that you can grow more people. Because again, you're not going to get new people in your stories if you're not getting them from your feed.
Yeah, I love that. So that's one thing. Sometimes I get too serious with teaching personal development or business type things on my social media. And then for example, like I watched a video the other day of like a mom protecting her dogs pushed a mama bear off of a fence. And so like, I love that video. I watched it like 10 times. So I just used like a repost thing and put it back up. And I got like 12 new, like, it's not huge because I don't have a huge following, but I got 12 new followers who are all like thought that was an awesome video. So it gave me new people to talk to. So I do that. And then I always think about, I don't remember who says it in one of the audios or books I read. It's like, when you meet somebody, always think, or, ask the question to them, however you word it in your voice, is like, who do you know that I need to know? Like, who do you know that I should get to know? And it's just being proactive in meeting more people and not always thinking just about social media. For example, I've been working at home now, opposite of Jenna, who still works a job. I've worked at home for nine years now. And so like, I have to get out of the house. So I'm in week 11 of Body Beast, but I do it at the gym. And so like, I meet people there, and like almost any time that I meet somebody and then I see that person that I know, that I'm like, hey, when I walk in or ask how they're doing, when I see them talking to somebody, I'll walk over to them and ask them to introduce, like, oh, who's your friend? And I'm super introverted and I'm totally against my nature to go do that. But I specifically do that so I can continue to meet people. Right. So think of, and that's for Lacey's question, just think outside the box. What are the best possible, like there's hundreds of ways for you to meet somebody, referrals, having friends introduce you, getting outside your comfort zone like that. So cool. Well, I don't see any more questions and we're at the hour, Jenna. So I want to say thank you so much for giving your time and your energy. I know you're just out of school and ready to take some naps and get some rest, but we're just so grateful that you came on here and shared your story, what your journey looked like. And honestly, when you were doing it, I was like, when you were speaking, I was like, okay, which of my neighbors is going to be our next elite coach, since your coach was your neighbor? That's awesome. So just think,
she's not active anymore.
Yeah, she's not even active. No. It reminds me of something that I used to talk about all the time, like 8, 9, 10 years ago when I first started, and this goes along with Lacey's question as well. And anybody looking to find, like, where do I find somebody, is like, if you were like, I want you to imagine right now you live in the cul-de-sac where I live. Like if it were 11 years in the past, before I ever did my first day of P90X, like you would probably think like that guy is not somebody that I should invite to my challenge group or to coaching, because I was literally the guy that went to work at 5 a.m., like zoomed down the cul-de-sac at 5 p.m., like picked up the kids from the neighbor, went right in the house. You never saw me. And the neighbors are probably like, I don't know. I think that guy just plays Call of Duty and drinks beer at night. He's like, never home. I've never seen him outside. Like I'd be not your ideal challenger. But it was somebody knocking on my door, inviting me to come back to church that was super ripped, and me just saying like, dude, how do I look like that? And him telling me to do P90X. And that transformed my entire life. So I want you to think about that. You have neighbors, you have people you work with, you have old friends from high school that you might be prejudging are not for, that they are not for this, or they would say no, that need you to say, just be their friend and like be the example to them. And if it's right for them, then they'll get started on the workouts, and then their entire life can change. So Jenna, thanks once again. This call is recorded. So if this helped any of you guys on here and you want to share it with your teammates, remember it'll be on the YouTube channel. I'll put it in the team page and share it. And then let's get to work. Okay, thanks. See you, Jenna. See you, team.